Good evening, everyone. It is late at night and, well, okay, not that late. It's only 7 p.m., but I got something I need to do, and that's because, unfortunately, I have to harvest some parts from my server because I'm doing a few component swaps, and that's because I am building this. It'll be a computer for my day job, so you guys pretty much will only see this on the channel probably just once, and that'll be pretty much it. You're not really going to see this computer again, but I have to build it and assemble it, but to do that, I actually need to harvest a few parts, particularly the motherboard out of this computer. And that's because I got a more suited motherboard for this type of thing. The thing is, the motherboard that's in this is actually equipped with 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, but because this is going to be a server that I intend to edit off of, I'd like to have 10 gigabit Ethernet, and I actually have a motherboard now that does have 10 gigabit Ethernet, but I'm not putting it in there. So I'm going to take that motherboard with 10 gigabit Ethernet and swap it into this thing. So that means we're going to have quite the disassembly to do. So that's what we're going to do here in this vlog. I'm just putting it here on the vlog channel instead of the gadgets channel because it's not really a full build. It's really just a motherboard swap and that's it. If you want a full PC build, that'll be done on the gadgets channel, and that will be me building this thing right here. But that's not today's video. Today, we're working on that beauty. So without further ado, let's put it on the table and let's get the motherboard swapped. All right, server is on the table. Oops, I forgot to unplug a few dongles from the motherboard. Those will be needed for when I do the swap later. So in case you guys weren't aware, which I didn't really do a great job updating you guys on this bit of the build, but if you recall from my gadgets video when I actually built my server, you might not really recognize this particular case, and that's because I actually built it in a different one. It's just I found a case that I liked more. It was already painted white, and I found that 12 hard drive bays is a bit excessive because, I mean, when you get 4 28 terabyte hard drives, that's still plenty of data as is, and that'll just be hard drives. I was surprised that my motherboard actually came with a certain accessory that expands upon my storage as well, and so I figured, you know what, I don't really need the 12 hard drive bays, and I wasn't that big of a fan of the case, so I decided to transfer the entire computer. I probably should have vlogged this part. Nonetheless, here we are. I transferred the entire computer from that case into this one. This is the Haven HS420. This has to be by far one of my favorite cases to build in due to its incredible engineering, and considering I am a slob, I'm so terrible when it comes to keeping clean. It also helps me with cable management. It is one of the best cases I've seen for cable management. And I mean, look at it. It looks so good. But nonetheless, we do have to change the motherboards. We do have to swap that out because I'd like to have 10 gigabit Ethernet instead of 2.5 gig Ethernet. And this motherboard will go into the new computer that I am building for work. So nonetheless, first we have to take off this top piece here. There's actually a couple screws on top. I should lower the table so I can actually access them. Ah, there we go. Now I can access my screws. Technically, these screws don't have to be in because the side panels on this are held in by magnets. It's just, I don't want to lose the screws, and so I just decided to put them back. They're not completely necessary. I just made it inconvenient on my part. And the final screw to remove that front panel. Front panel on this case, you just pull it to the side, it pops up, and then you can lift it away like so. And now you have access to the entire computer. Yeah, I'm gonna have to tear quite a bit into this thing to get the motherboard out. So I think, yeah, we can leave the cooler in. I just need to disconnect this mount. Oh, I gotta make sure I have the IHS for this because this does not use, or what is it? No, it's not the IHS. What is it? Basically, it's the CPU retainer clip. This does not use the retainer clip that came with the motherboard from the factory. It actually came with a special retainer clip that was designed to mount to this cooler. So I got to make sure that I find that because that's going to be very important when I swap the motherboard out. So, okay, at this point, we can just lay it down and I'll shift the camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah, just start unplugging a bunch of crap. Shoot. This is not supposed to come off. Thankfully, there's no pins on it. You know, I'll put it back on when the motherboard comes out. All that's left in here that's currently connected is primarily fans. Ooh. Dang it, the cooler is in the way. There. There, now we have access to the rest of our fan headers. EPS connectors. I know I'm in the way of the camera, it's just I gotta get access to these EPS connectors, and they're not particularly easy to unplug. 4. Alright, EPS connectors are disconnected. I gotta remove the fan hub here. Now it's time to remove the cooler. How's my thermal paste application? Alright, I need to get something to clean that up. Is it the appropriate solution? Probably not, but it works. Thermal paste is pretty messy. Probably not the most appropriate. I'm just using toilet paper to clean this stuff off. It's probably not the most appropriate thing, but I'm just making sure I'm discharging myself by touching something that's grounded, just so I don't add any static or that type of stuff. All right, yep, it's pretty much cleaned up. So now at this point, we can begin unscrewing the motherboard. Motherboard is free. Now we just got to remove some components from it, like my SSD, the memory, and the CPU, plus the CPU retainer, because that's going to be necessary when I put it on the new motherboard. Then we'll put it back in the case. But for now, let's get the case off the table so we can disassemble the motherboard. All right, so let's get the memory out, since apparently this is now the most valuable thing in the motherboard. I kid you not. 32 gigs of DDR5 memory that can run at 6,000 mega transfers per second. Somehow now cost over $450. So yeah, that makes my memory kit in here the most expensive thing on this motherboard. As stupid as that is. Okay, come on, you should be free. There. Oh, right. I gotta put that plastic shielding for the USB 3 header back on, because that was pulled off. Thankfully, all the pins are still there, so I didn't lose my USB 3. That's good. There, USB 3 is back on. So memory is removed. I gotta remove a couple SSDs that are in here. Oh, this driver's too thick. So this one contains my boot SSD. It's a Samsung terabyte. Is that supposed to come with it? Because I don't think so. Just the thermal pad doing its thermal pad stuff. Yeah, these screws aren't captive. All right, I thought they were. I guess not. No, actually, it's now kind of looking like it's supposed to be, because it's not going in right. What? Hey! Shit, where did that go? Of course I dropped it. Let me see, are you a Gen 5 socket? No, that looks like a Gen 4 socket. But nonetheless, this is my boot SSD, so I will want to keep this. All right, so that's been secured. All right, and then I've got another one, I believe, under this shield. Actually, I don't remember, is it this shield or is it under this long one here? But I've got a second SSD in here. Okay, yep, it's definitely under here because the thermal pad is sticking to something. Yep, there it is, right there. Oh. The thermal pad's peeling. Yep, the thermal pad's peeling off. And then, yep, here is my 128 gig. I was supposed to use this as a boot drive for TrueNAS, but I don't think I'm going to run TrueNAS on this. I'm not entirely sure. But nonetheless, there's my second drive. So that's it. There's no more drives in this. So we can place this shield back on and rescrew that in. I really do need to look and figure out which of these has the Gen 5 NVMe slots, and it's because I bought a Gen 5 NVMe drive, so that way I can make sure I have the fastest read and write speeds possible. Because again, the new computer is going to be a work computer, and supposedly I read somewhere that this motherboard supports Gen 5 PCIe NVMe SSDs. So okay, that's all that's left now to retrieve from this motherboard is the CPU and its retention bracket. This is a custom retention bracket from Arctic because they use a custom bracket for their coolers. All right, screws retrieved here. is the CPU. It's a Intel Core i7 12700K. So at this point, there should be a bracket underneath. Yep, I believe that's for the CPU retention bracket. Okay, so now I gotta dig into my boxes and find that retention clip because I'm gonna need that because the cooler I bought for the work build uses that retention clip. These! This is the original bracket that came with the motherboard, and I 100% need this for the next build. Gotta remember which way the retention clip attaches. I think it goes on like this. Yeah. Oh, those were custom screws for that. So there's screws for this too. I need to find the screws. These screws are not magnetic. That's probably a good thing. I stand corrected. They are magnetic. Oh, those are Torx. I didn't realize those were Torx screws. Okay, I need a bigger Torx driver. Well, it's a good thing I have one. It's a good thing I've got this secondary screwdriver kit here with larger Torx bits. So the question is which one? Sure these are on good because this clip is supposed to be very snug. All right, so there's that end of it. And there we go. All right, this motherboard is back to stock and is ready for the next build. So now it's time to basically take all the stuff I took out of this and install it on the new motherboard. So let's put this aside for now and let's get our new motherboard unboxed. So the previous one is an Asus Prime motherboard with an LGA 1700 socket. I paid about $120-ish for that motherboard. This motherboard, on the other hand, is a lot more expensive. This one was close to $400. I know it's a lot of money for a motherboard, and there's a few things on this that I do find a bit excessive. Particularly, apparently this whole VRM heatsink here, apparently this is designed for if you do a open loop cooling system and you can tie VRM cooling into your loop. That's a bit extreme, and I don't know, maybe I might go that far if I ever do an open custom loop. I'm not there just yet, so we're just going to focus on getting my other components installed on this, and it looks like this is going to be pretty fun to access. So okay, first things first, as I recall, I have to remove this ILM, and that's because I have this custom one here from Arctic that I need to use to mount the cooler. So apparently I didn't need to tighten them that tight, because these are hardly tight at all. I did not realize that. Oh, shoot. I am so terrified this bit's gonna break something. This bracket is removed, and I'll put that in the box in just a little bit. But right now, let's get the CPU in. I'll discharge myself real quick. And luckily, these things only go in one way, so it's hard to mix them up. This got me so confused when I initially installed it because I was expecting to use the original ILM, and then Arctic decided, nope, you're not going to use that if you want to use our cooler. And so as a result, it took me forever to figure out that I needed to use this custom thing instead of the one built in on the motherboard. So okay, I need this driver again because we're back to the Phillips screws. Is the back plate itself literally... Oh yeah, there's nothing to compress against the back plate. That's why it keeps falling down. CPU has been socketed. This is becoming handy for something. last one. Gosh, these peels are annoying. Let's go get the case back so we can mount the motherboard in. Oops, I gotta put this back on. Let's go get the case. All right, let's get the motherboard remounted. See if I can do it with the case standing up like this. So that would make life so much easier for me. Gotta be kidding. There's another peel under here. I mean, if I recall, this motherboard was marketed for like max cooling potential and such, but how is this not excessive? In the meantime, let's get some of my connections in so I can secure the cooler back in place. To do is mount this back. Slide you back in. My driver is over here. I'll screw that in. I'll tip this on its side, and then we will remount the CPU cooler right after I find my thermal paste, because that's going to be important. I won't put the screws back on just yet, but I'll at least put my side panels for the rear back on. And then there's this one. There, and now that side panel's back on. So let's lay this thing on its side, reapply some thermal paste, and button up the cooler and hope that she works. All right, hopefully that's enough thermal paste. I'd always rather have too much than not enough. I can see the paste as I'm compressing this, so I may have applied a little more than I should have, but I'd always prefer to have a little more than not enough. Our cooler is re-secured. Let's put our top piece on. All right. So now let's grab a power cable and hope she posts. Moment of truth. All the RGB is working. Oh, there's a display right there. I didn't realize that. Our display's firing up. Oh, look at that. We have a post. Good. Awesome. All right, and good news. I have made it into Windows. Let's check Task Manager here to see if XMP is enabled or not. I hope it is. 6,000 mega transfers per second. Yep, that is exactly where we should be at. So memory's running at the right speed. CPU temp is looking just fine right there. Yeah, now I can actually see my CPU temperature readout, which is kind of nice. Everything is functional. I tested all my USB ports on the top. All the RGB is working just lovely. And if you're wondering what that card is right there, that's not a graphics card. That is actually a SSD extension card where I can actually install more NVMe SSDs via PCIe instead of SATA. That's nice, and I decided to install it while I had the opportunity to. Yeah, that works out very well. And now future me is here to tell you that apparently not everything went exactly as planned. Oh, would you look at that? For some reason, Windows decided to deactivate itself. Why? So all because I swapped the motherboard, and that is the only hardware component that has changed on this computer. It's just the motherboard. Because I swapped the motherboard, Microsoft decided, oh no, yeah, screw you. That Windows key you paid $140 for now? Yeah, that's screwed up now. And if I actually try to activate it, I keep getting this stupid error here. And believe me, I've gone through the troubleshooting process to try to get it to reactivate, and Microsoft is pulling more Microsoft. They just... Why does this company insist on sucking so much? There is a reason why, for the most part, I stick to primarily using Macs, be it this iMac right here. I've got my MacBooks charging somewhere else. There's a reason why I'm more of a Mac guy and not PC. I built this primarily because I needed a storage server, and this is just stupid. Microsoft, you suck. So if anyone has any tips and tricks on how to actually get this thing to function properly, because again, I paid $140 for that key, I would like to continue using it. If any of you have any tips to get this thing to function again, because believe me, I've gone through all of Microsoft's different troubleshooting steps. I can't even get to one of their service agents because their phone tree is terrible. It's just AI shit. Not a fun predicament I'm in right now. And that will conclude this little vlog. Next time, build a whole new computer from scratch, although I am reusing the motherboard. Once I have the time to be able to build this thing right here, we'll be doing that for the next video. I'm rambling at this point. So thank you for watching. Do me a favor and interact with the stuff below. Also, check out my Patreon page. I would very much appreciate that. See ya!